All right, everybody, welcome to Navajo Tea Time. Today we have a very special episode with our husbands. I have my husband Mike here, and Kelsey is with
Algernon.
This episode is going to be focused primarily on Husband Appreciation Day, which falls on April 15th. So we have our wonderful husbands here today, and we are going to talk about two main topics. We're going to talk about the day itself. How do you guys feel about having a day dedicated to your wives appreciating you or your partners appreciating you, for those who are in same-sex marriages? But also, we also wanted to ask a little bit about your perspective. How do you see your personal perspective on Husband Appreciation Day? Is it meaningful? How can your partner, your significant other, show appreciation for you? And then in alignment with Stress Awareness Month, which is this April, we also wanted to ask about some of your stressors related to marriage and family. So let's get into it.
I just wanted to make a quick note. When I saw April 15th as Husband Appreciation Day, I'm like, that's Gernon's birthday. So he already has a whole, he doesn't get an extra day. That's that one day.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
He already gets to celebrate that day.
To be honest, I did not know Husband Appreciation Day was a thing.
We didn't know until we were looking up holidays in April, like throughout the whole year. There's like a bunch of different random holidays we found. And we're like, how just Husband Appreciation Day? It's like, what?
No, just a year ago, I recently learned about International Video Game Day.
Really? What day is that?
It's like in September. Yeah,
do you guys celebrate Husband Appreciation Day? So I have my husband Michael here, and I'm gonna pose a question to you first. What are some ways that wives, significant others, partners can show their appreciation in a meaningful way?
I think time is the big thing. The way that we can make time to spend time together, even if it's for a short while, and have it not be something that's interruptive if possible. And so I know that I enjoy your company, and I like to like I've said before, go out and have lunch, have dinner. Even a getaway would be great. Yeah, I think I really enjoy just coffee with you in the morning, lunch if possible, and it's just a quiet moment, I guess, to kind of come back and just spend that time with you and not talk about anything that's sort of mundane. I don't want to talk about stuff that's mundane necessarily. Something we can dream about, I suppose. It could be a house or another opportunity to go travel or to take on even a job. Those are fun. And even hearing what you're thinking about with scholarly ideas, I enjoy hearing about that. Even hearing about something that you've heard in a podcast or saw a news article or got a great idea, or what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Those are fun. Those are fun for me. And so having that moment is always wonderful for me.
So like basically having your partner make time for you, like set time aside every day to have these connection points where like
for each other, because it can't be one-sided. It can't be you talking to me and
that's a big one. I don't
do that, so I make sure that when we're decompressing from the day or we're having lunch, I really want to be engaged.
I think this isn't even targeted toward me, but I do think that that's one way that partners can show appreciation for their significant other is choosing them over this.
Mhm.
This is a big one. I see it all the time, and I do it myself. Like when I want to show appreciation for my husband, I put this away. You know what I mean? And I'm like focused on him. I listen and I engage. And yeah, it's not just like this, like, I put this, I choose him over this. Same thing with my computer. Same thing with other things, like just taking that time to, and yeah.
And it's not necessarily that I'm not saying that I want you to just I talk, you listen.
Mhm.
Because no matter what, I feel better when you're talking and I'm listening.
Mhm.
And that's fine. I
Mhm.
respond, I share my ideas, but I think but I just don't want it to be misunderstood as like I want you to come sit down and talk and listen to me while I blab on about it. Yeah, that's not enjoyable to me,
Yeah, like,
so it should be balance.
yeah. And I think, like as Kelsey knows, it's really hard for me to not talk. So I love connecting with you. Like that's really why I like being married to you, is because we can have really good conversations. Like our first conversation has been this continuous conversation that we've been having for years now, and it's been this 7-year conversation that we've been engaged in, and it's always interesting. And I love being married to someone who is as intelligent as you are, as inquisitive as you are, because my husband is not a yes man. He doesn't just agree with everything I say. He challenges me when I need to be challenged, or when he disagrees, just like, well, but think about it like this, or what about this? Like he asks the questions and he gets me to like kind of, think twice about my statements sometimes, because sometimes I make these glaring statements that are just like, or these like statements that are kind of broad. And so we talk about it, but also when I have my own ideas regarding like what I want to do with my life, or an idea I have of something I want to create, I pitch it to him and he just listens, and he's that soundboard. And then I think it's been really fun.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it's been really fun. And I think that is a great way to show appreciation, is just that open communication that I think is so important to relationships. How about you guys? Gernon, what is, in your opinion,
Yeah.
what is a way that a significant other can show their appreciation for their partner?
I can agree with Mike on time. Yeah,
Mhm.
time to put into spending time with their
Mhm.
other. It's kind of hard to say because she's here at work with me. I work with her. It's hard to tell. It feels like I'm already spending time with her. Working with her as a partner at work, and then on our gaming nights, I'm gaming with her, or even at dinner time, we're having dinner together. I guess we're just together every day, so I'm just feeling there's nothing else to say. So I say we already have time together, so I'm just like,
No, I was going to ask, are there things that Kelsey does to show appreciation for you?
yes.
So one thing I learned about Gernon is his love language is touch, which is a little bit like on the opposite end of mine, which is like, mine is kind of like the service of like, you do something nice for me, or like you do something to help me, and I feel appreciated that way. But him, just me like hugging him or giving him a kiss, or like, just, holding his hand. For him, he is more, I don't know, that's just his love language. And it took us a little while to figure that out, especially back when I was on the birth control, where I just didn't want any physical contact at all. And it just made me really annoyed. But then I had to go back and figure out, what my, I don't know, I don't want to say it's a problem, but it was definitely a barrier that we both had to work on. So that's why I went into like looking up what love languages were, and figuring out what his was to help, appreciate him better, and then figure out what mine is so I can communicate that better to him.
What's your love language, Mike?
I can't remember now. We thought it was touch, but then we recently saw a meme where it said something about burritos.
Quality time. Yeah,
Quality
it was
time.
It was a meme. Yeah, it was
you and I spending time getting burritos. That's my love language. It's spending time together, though.
Yeah.
In seriousness.
So for for like people who are our audience who are watching this, they don't know how they can celebrate, or like, I mean, we all just learned, right, about Husband Appreciation Day. And I think that I was actually I was the one that was like, we should talk about this, because I think that it's really important for people, like for wives, partners, to show appreciation for their husbands. I think that men don't get treated as well as they should. I really do believe that. And I think that it's really important for spouses to show appreciation, whether it's in little ways or whether it's doing something really nice on one day. You know what I mean? Like Husband Appreciation Day, to kind of just carve out that time, let them know that they are valued. You know, I think that's really, really important. And so I wanted to talk about that, but I also wanted to spice it up a little bit with Kelsey and ask her, what do you appreciate about your husband? It's okay if you look him in his eyes and hold his hand.
Should I say one word?
Should I be here for this?
It's useful. So that goes back to like when I brought him down to my family's sheep shearing, and I was cooking and he was out helping, get the sheep and everything. My cousin's like, "Who are you? You're so useful," because I didn't have time to introduce him to everybody. And so that's just been his
She thought
his identifying factor was he's useful. No, what I appreciate about him is that he makes me go to places I feel really uncomfortable, and I end up having a really enjoyable time because he pushes me out of my comfort zone to do more social things. Whereas people usually just leave me alone because they're scared of me. But he's like, "No, let's go do this thing, or let's go to this family event, or let's spend time here." And it's like, okay. And I know eventually I'll have fun, but it's just so hard to go to those places. So he really drags me to these different places.
Drag.
Dragging me along. He brings me out of my comfort zone of me just wanting to stay home and not go anywhere or see anyone or do anything.
I guess in a way to add in on that, it's the opposite for me too. If I just want to take time away from being an extrovert, just be on that cool down moment. So I'm just like, feels good being here with her, nobody else. So.
And the little one, but
little one, of course.
I think that's what I appreciate about him the most. Like I said, like he's really useful. He cooks, he cleans, he helps out with Frankie.
That's how you do it, fellas.
That's how you do it.
Also, he's like, I don't know, like when we first started dating, he was never uncomfortable when I asked him to buy me like pads or anything like that. He's like, "Okay, yeah, sure, I can go get them for you." So he's never been uncomfortable about like womanly problems. He's always been supportive and helpful. And it's like, "Oh, you're just being lazy, over dramatic." He's always been really like, "Oh, you're in pain, here, take some meds, you can sleep all day," or whatever. So
that's like husband material, right? Or material right there. Like you're gonna partner with a woman, like if you're, heterosexual, you're gonna partner, a man and a woman are gonna partner together. You have to know what each other's needs are, and take care of
she needs you, man. Get your butt up, get it done.
It's true. I think like that's the key, is like both partners knowing what the other needs and then meeting those needs, and then you're good.
So what about you, Adrienne? What do you appreciate about your husband?
Well, I like that he's genuinely funny. I think like he makes me laugh all the time in like the most inappropriate settings. He gets me through the bad days. That's important. He walks through darkness with me. He doesn't just abandon me or leave me alone to deal with it on my own. He's the kind of person that like will grab my hand and be like, "We're getting through this together." And I know that I can rely on him. He's a good provider for our whole family. And he's supportive of my ambitions and dreams, which I think that a lesser man wouldn't be able to do. Oftentimes men have this ego and they're like, "No, it's about me. You have to support me." and my dreams and my ambitions. And he recognizes that I have my own, and he's like, go for it. What do you need from me? And a good example of that is when I wanted to go to grad school, and a lesser man could have been like, no, you need to focus on the family, like, or when I wanted to go back to work after our son was born, he could have been like, no, you need to stay home and take care of our son. Or when I wanted to start a business, he could have been like, why? Like, we just had a baby, like, we just got married, you should focus. Instead, he's like, let's do it together, and he's always been really supportive of my ambitions and dreams, because he does know that I can get bored really easily. And when I get bored, I get into mischief. And I'm unhappy. I'm just like miserable. I have to be doing something that I feel is impactful. And he's always been supportive of that. And when I decided to go back to school, there were people who assumed like, oh, he's going to be like doing your homework for you, or he's going to be like helping you along the way. And when he asked me, what do you need from me? How can I help you? I said, make my coffee, rub my feet. I'm going to write my own papers. I'm going to do my own research. I'm going to do this on my own. I want to earn a degree based on my own merit, my own ideas, my own thoughts. And when I do ask for you to maybe proofread something for me, I want you to give me hard, critical feedback. I don't want you saying like, oh, it's good, like, or just, I want him to challenge me. And he does. And it makes it so much harder, but it makes the paper better. I tell him like, when we're in this mode, you be the professor, I'm the student. I want you to critique me. I want you to help me become a better student. I'm willing to do the work, but I need you to guide me on how. And so in that way, he's been really helpful. And I think that's really meaningful, because I have to have him take his husband hat off and put his professor hat on, and so that makes my work better, even though makes it harder, it's okay. And then he's really good to people. He's good to my family. He's good to my parents. He's good to people that sometimes don't deserve to be treated well. He treats them with respect. And I really value that, because for me, sometimes I'm not always like that. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, but but this or but that. And he's just like, no, like, there is a level of respect we give all people, and that's the way we function. And I love that. I like that he is a good leader in our family. He leads the family in that way. And, I feel like my job is to honor that also. And like, when it comes to parenting, I was listening to this little spiel that someone online put out there, and they were like, the best thing you can do for your husband is to let him parent. Like, you can't just be so protective of your children that you're like, no, like, I don't know, like, you have to let your husband have that. You have to let him, engage in that activity too. You can't always, because they were talking about how a lot of moms, they kind of like protect their kids, especially their boys. They protect their boys, and they don't want the fathers being too harsh on them. And the people who were talking were like, no, you have to, because they're not doing it to hurt their children. They're disciplining them because they don't want their children to end up in jail. They don't want to end up in a hospital. They don't want their sons to end up in the grave. They need to have that person to guide them, and it's important. And so I do that, and that's kind of a way I show my appreciation, is like, I don't get in the way when he's disciplining the kids, even though sometimes I want to. I'm just like, I have to hold myself back. And especially as the kids are getting older, I'm just like, I have to let him parent, and and he lets me parent. So it's like back and forth, So I think that's like, those are the things I appreciate about you, babe. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate
to add on there. I kind of feel this. I'm kind of like the same way with you, except I kind of like, it comes to the point where I hearing her discipline the little one too. Every time she's acting up, just like, hold on, she's got this.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I was kind of throwing a little thing in with them too, to be a part of thing. So Frankie knows that, I'm here too.
Mhm.
But just like Alex, you can say what's that phrase called? Chime in a bit on it.
Mhm.
So yeah.
And sometimes we try to be on the same page, or we really try to be on like the same page of like, no, you can't have this. Then I have to go over and tell them like, I told her she can't have this for this reason, and then she'll come up running, Daddy, can I have this? Like, nope, Mommy already told you no because of this, and she gets all mad,
That she'll ask.
Yeah, that was something that he came to me with, was like, we always need to be on the same page. There can't be dad's rules and mom's rules.
That's bad.
That's bad. We have to be on the same page. Otherwise, the kid's going to think that they can go to mom for certain things or dad to certain things. They can get out of, one person's form of discipline, or what one person said was okay, and what another, so it's not good. So I'm like, okay. So
all I could think of was Coraline. What did the mother say? Don't you go anywhere, Caroline Jones.
oh yeah.
That's right. What did the mother say?
If we can move on to like the next one is like, how do you feel about there being like a specific husband appreciation day, or is that just like another day to add to the calendar of things people need to remember?
What do you guys think? You guys are the husbands.
It's new to me. I didn't even know the thing, like I said before. I was like, guess it's optional for us, is it not?
I think it's nice. I don't know. What do you think?
I appreciate that. I think for a long time,
Well, I just knew one day of it. It was anniversary. That's what I thought that what it was.
that's a two-way street, though.
That is true, though. So,
That's a two-way street.
It is.
I
But,
think
it's still the same thing.
for a long time, I've been unaware of any kind of recognition, and if this is a way to go towards that and recognize husbands around the world, I'm for it. I think there's a lot of times where it's a two-way street, where I don't think a lot of spouses treat each other the way they should.
That's true.
And so if this is a step towards, I'm going to treat my spouse in a good way, I'm going to try to appreciate them on a certain day, and we'll all line it up. I'm good with it. But I think Adrian does a good job of appreciating me every day. I think that it's something that we work towards, and I never want to, miss that. I never want to miss an opportunity to say, hey, thanks. And so I really try to say it like that, It's like, hey, thanks when our son was asking for mac and cheese for breakfast this morning, and thanks for backing me up.
Yep, I didn't make
that maybe this isn't the healthiest thing for somebody, in the morning. We're having eggs, okay, and people can write in and tell us how eggs are less healthy than mac and cheese later. There's an email for that, I'm
Who
sure.
would say that?
Who knows? Flat earthers, who knows? I don't know. You can cut that.
Yeah, I do try to be like, I do try to show my husband appreciation every day, because I genuinely do appreciate everything you do. I love you so much. I feel so thankful and blessed to have you in my life. And I don't ever want you to feel like I don't ever want you to not know that. You know what I mean? It just seems like such a waste of time, I don't want you going through your day and your life ever questioning, does she appreciate me? Does she notice what I do? It's just like, I just think that's a BS way of spending your day. I want you to focus on big things. I want you to focus on the things you aspire to. I want you to focus on your career. I want you to focus on being a good dad. I want you to focus on your health, the things that matter, they're going to take us into old age, that are going to improve our quality of life, as opposed to losing hours stressing out like, does my wife appreciate me? Does she like me? Does she recognize everything I do? Like, I just think there's no need for you to, like, there's no need for you. You made a commitment to me. You do so much. And I'm just like, I just think that's an important thing. And, there are I wanted to kind of ask everyone, like, quick tips. If you guys have any tips as to like how people can show appreciation for their significant other.
Well, I don't know, like this, for me, it was like, figuring out what their love language is and being
That's a
able
big
to
one.
show the appreciation to them in the way they feel love, not the way you feel love.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
for a long time, I was showing Gernon how I, receive love and how I feel loved. And for him, that just felt like I was being bossy. Because I was like, hey, you should do things this way, or let's get this stuff done, like doing stuff
Mhm.
for him or with him, and like, the act of service.
Mhm.
And so that's the way I feel appreciated, but that's not the way he felt appreciated.
Mhm.
So like I was being bossy.
Mhm.
So I had to figure out how he, feels love or feels the
Mhm.
best.
Kind of did the same thing, because I was more observing what she likes, don't like, and getting her preferences. So
Mhm.
there's still a few things I need to learn about her.
Yeah, and that's the fun thing about being in a relationship, right? You have all this time to learn about each other, and
Mhm.
yeah, and that's what I like about marriage. It's fun. You get to learn more about each other every year, and it's nice to know, like, it's nice when you learn something about what he really likes, and then you kind of like notate it, and then you bring that back around later and surprise him with something nice, or cooking the food he enjoys. I know there's some things that he doesn't like, and I do my best not to do those things or to cook those things, or you know what I mean? Like, he knows I hate olives. So,
But I also hate olives, so
and he
that's kind
luckily
of cheating.
well, let's see. Let me think of a different
Grapes, she'll give them
example.
to me. I
Well,
got
so
her.
I hate
I got her.
grapes. I hate grape flavored candy, and so he'll take all the purple candy. He'll eat all the grapes from, like when you get like the little fruit salads. Him and Frankie will eat all the grapes. So,
See,
got you.
that's sweet.
and I always get like my sister always asks questions like for Frankie's like, well, what if Frankie likes grapes? I'm like, well, then she can have all the grapes in the world. I don't have to eat a single one. you know?
More for her.
Yeah, like more for them. I don't care what they eat. It's not me. I don't have to taste it.
The way I show my appreciation sometimes, I think, is like I prop my husband up. You know what I mean? Like, I speak of him, like when I'm at, like, I share I like share that he's an author. I let people know that he wrote books. I I started like social media pages for those books. I encourage him to do more book talks. When I go into bookstores, I talk to the owners. And I remember the first time I did it, he was just, because he doesn't do that. He doesn't do self-promotion at all. And me,
I'm
I'm
bad at
like,
it.
he's really bad at it. And I'm just like, no, like, you worked really hard for this. Like, you did this. How many people have put out books? And so we were at a bookstore. We're at Brightside Bookstore, and I was with my friend Sarah. It was it like the Art Walk?
Probably.
Because we're
Yeah.
all together. Yeah, we're all together downtown. And we went into Brightside because we always go into bookstores just to hang out. And I'm like, hey, we should talk to the owner about getting your book in here. And he was like, oh, no, it's okay. I don't want to. And I was like, I'll do it. And so I walk over there, and he like ran behind Sarah.
I went behind a bookshelf. I was like, I'm gonna go hang out over here then.
Sarah started laughing because he was all hiding. And I was over there talking. And I'm like, yeah, my husband did da 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 da.
Like, my
But
husband, where is he?
where did he go?
He went out the emergency exit.
But I do that, and like there was this one meme we saw where like oh my God, it was a Spider-Man meme. Like it shows, what was her name?
Gwen?
Uh
Mary
huh?
Jane?
I think so,
Gwen?
yeah. The red hair.
Mary Jane.
Mary Jane.
Yeah,
MJ.
and she's like yelling at somebody. Have you seen that
Oh,
meme?
yeah.
Where it's like, anyways, never mind. I'll
It's
put it up.
okay. Put the
I'll send
pickles
it.
on.
Yeah, I'll send it to you,
Oh,
Kelsey.
it's the movie one, right?
Yeah,
Where
it's like
like
when
he's talking to her and she's like yelling off to the side to someone.
yeah. And it's like when an
Like, it's
extrovert
okay. No pickles.
when an extrovert marries an introvert, and she's yelling at someone like, he said he doesn't like pickles, you know what I mean?
No,
And
it's
I'm like,
okay.
that's me, like, because he doesn't like pickles on his burgers. So it's just like a whole thing, you just do little things like that for them, stand up for them, be vocal for them. Like, my husband is more introverted than I am. So I don't consider myself, I kind of consider myself in the middle. I go back and forth, but like, I don't mind doing that. I don't mind, like, being vocal, doing that promotion, letting him know that I appreciate it, making sure that when he wants to write, we find time so that he can do that. You know what I mean? He can do the things he wants to do because he has a number of hobbies. And so if I need to, take the kids and go somewhere so he can have time to do that. Or if I just need to, make a delicious meal, or if I can do something that's going to make it easier for him to be able to do what he wants, then I will do that. And that's kind of how I show appreciation for his abilities, his talents, not just him as a person, but everything he is and everything that contributes to who, he aspires to be. And I think that's an important part of being in a marriage is you're not just appreciating the person that they were when you met them or the person they are now, but you're appreciating, what they aspire to become over time as you age together, as you grow together, and knowing what their ambitions are and being able to support that. I think that is so key in a partnership.
Yeah, I think also just like even just saying, hey, I appreciate what you did today. Just like, just say it every once in a while. Doesn't have to be all the time. Just sometimes to say it, because sometimes having someone say it, you're like, okay, thanks.
Her reply.
You're gonna say it all the time.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay.
Say
it next year too.
I'll put it on my calendar.
A 1 year cool down.
That was like one of the tips that I included on here. It was like vocalize what you appreciate. I think that's important. I think you can think it and feel it, but if you don't say it, then how are they going to know? Because they can't read your mind, And I actually wrote 2 other tips. I wrote, be nice. I don't think that's really hard to do. But maybe it is. But I think that's a really easy way, is a free way to show someone that you appreciate them. Like, just be nice to them. Like, because I think in relationships, especially when you're like married or you're living together, and you kind of get on each other's nerves if you don't have that time apart, it's easy to kind of just not be nice to each other. And I think like being nice to someone is a great way to show that you appreciate them. And then the other thing I wrote was, don't start any unnecessary drama, especially on Husband Appreciation Day. Like, that's not a day to start an argument. That's not a day to be bickering. That's not a day to be mean. Right?
That's also tax day. You didn't see how like Husband Appreciation Day is on tax day?
Well, do your taxes beforehand, people.
Do it on the day before.
Come on. You don't have to do it the day of. Do it before. Set this day
I'm just saying, there might be a reason why to be a little snippy to your husband if you guys didn't complete your taxes yet.
If you didn't do your taxes, you're not invited to my party.
Also his birthday party.
Yeah, you don't get this day if you didn't do your taxes.
I can live with that. I think I can live with that.
There's a party, you're not invited.
That sounds fair.
Yeah, so Gernon's Appreciation Day is his birthday. So I always go all out for other people's birthdays, like Frankie's, Gernon's, my younger siblings. I'll call my older brother, but he has a life of his own. So, but I always like going all out for birthday parties. Even just making like a really big extravagant cake. Like I remember, for his 30th party. 30th birthday, we went to Thorpe and I invited like 60 people. 50 said they would show up. So I ordered this big old cake.
Nice.
And like 10 people showed up.
Really?
Yeah. We're gonna like play like disc golf and everything because he really likes doing disc golf. So now we're like, you know what? We'll just have a small cake, a small gathering, and we'll play disc golf. Everyone else, whatever. We won't do a big thing like that again because everyone said they'd come, but no one showed up.
Oh no.
We reduce it down a bit more every year.
Like, the people we know will show up, we'll invite.
I have no
Is there
plans for this
anything-
year. So I know just be food.
No, we wanted to watch that movie, Renfield.
Oh yeah, that's right. Renfield.
It's Nicholas Hoult and Nicolas Cage, the vampire one. Yeah, I saw like this trailer. He runs and is like, I need help getting out of a toxic relationship. And he's talking about being like the servant to Dracula. Like, and one of the therapists, people like, and what happens if you no longer do all these things for him? It's like, he'll no longer have the power to whatever. Like, that's an odd way of phrasing that, but yes. We're like, we gotta watch this movie on your birthday, Gernon.
Yeah, that's right. We did have fun. Oh, sure. All I can think of was food.
That's all he thinks about, just making food for him, and he's like, I'm happy.
Away to my stomach. Away to my heart.
Oh
Just
yeah,
through
way
your
to a guy's heart, through his stomach, and up the
That's
ribcage.
true.
Mhm.
I think that's true. Do you think that's true, Kelsey?
I do. I always say it, and then I always put the caveat of through the ribcage. You know, through the stomach and up the ribcage.
To a man's heart. Literally.
Exactly.
It's the way.
It is the way.
It's so
This is the
literal.
Yeah.
I know. I always tell my girls that, like, you guys need to know how to cook. And they're just like, why? And I never say, like, so you can cook for your husband. But it's like, there's always going to be men in their lives, right? Fathers, grandfathers, cousins, brothers. And
I mean,
knowing how to cook
everyone.
is just,
People
yeah.
need
Like,
food. You need food.
I was
people
just gonna
need
say,
food.
like, I
But
say
if you want a man to love you, you cook for him. It's just a fact. And you
I
cook
don't
good.
know.
You happy.
all the food she cooked me before, like
I'm really good at
Was it bad?
cooking,
Was it
Oh.
but
good?
it's so much. It takes so many dishes and so many steps. That's why I'm like,
But
you
you
have to do the
cook good,
dishes.
Kelsey.
I know.
You're like a really good cook. I
Stop
love
telling people.
so, they
Lots
can,
are gonna hear.
so they can be
Stop
all
it.
jealous. They'll be more jealous.
Do you think I'm a good cook?
Yeah.
Yeah. I always brag that like all the Hatafi like my cooking.
She's the mutton stew expert.
I gotta say I can make some bomb mutton stew. And I'm learning how to make pasoli. It's so good. But I think our
Does
girls
sound
make
good.
better pasoli.
Yeah, they've been doing it longer though.
Yeah, they're teaching me how to cook good. Anyways, okay, back to the guys. All right. So, Gernon, quickly, 3 tips for how a wife can show appreciation for her husband. And then Mike. Okay, now Mike.
Figure out what your husband likes and make that happen. Do it unexpectedly if you can. I think that's a good one. I think also that, and this is sort of a personal thing, I think it's just time. Even if it's a minute, it's better than nothing. That's always good. And maybe the third thing can be don't get upset about everything that your husband buys behind your back. Maybe pick your battles. But if he buys something and it's like, I got this, sorry, just be like, oh, that's awesome, you deserve it, you know. So that can be maybe like a 365, you know, you get 1 free pass per year. I don't know, something like that. So
True.
It has to be purchased on April 15th.
there you go. She get a coupon, just print it out. If she gets upset, be like, okay, here's the coupon.
Use
Sorry
it.
what I said when I was hungry.
Here's my appreciation day pass.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, you right. You signed it. It's good.
I guess one thing is just, watch what they like. You can like what their favorite food is, or just
Mhm.
their favorite thing, their favorite hobby, just, gift them something like that, or, cook them a good, delicious dessert meal that they love, or they've been craving for months and years. So, yeah.
That's good advice.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. That's good. Well, I mean, just imagine how many people don't even do that though. They don't take time to observe. They don't take time to like pay attention to what their partner likes or doesn't like. They're just kind of doing whatever they want. I think a lot of people do that. And when we got married, we had that conversation before we even committed to each other. It's like, I told him straight up, these are the things that I was kind of on the negative. These are the things I can't stand. You know what I mean? These are the things that I can't have in my life. And he did the same. And because we were just like at the point where like, we're too old for all the games. You know what I mean? Like, we don't want to play those games or waste any time. Like, this is what I prefer. And this is what I don't want in my life, and either you're in alignment with that or not. And so like, I think that's really important to have those conversations with each other, like knowing what people's what is it called? It's like, I'm thinking kill switch, but it's not kill switch. It's like those hard lines.
Yeah, it's the deal breaker.
The deal breakers. What are the
Kill
deal breakers?
switch.
Kill switch, like, that's not
Yeah.
okay.
You're dead. You're gone. Bye.
That's how I think.
Don't
it's
hit this
horrible.
switch.
I know,
It
don't
will
hit
kill
this
it.
switch. It'll kill the whole thing. And so we have our very like,
Problem solved.
I guess because I'm a guitarist, I don't see a big deal with a kill switch. It's just a toggle. It just cuts the power.
it's fine.
It's not life support. But in a marriage, it is.
It really
In a marriage, it is life support. So yeah, it is a kill switch.
is.
Do not push the kill switch.
Do not step
Don't.
away from the kill switch.
Do not.
Okay, all right, so let's move on from there. I think we have a pretty clear idea of like what appreciation looks like, how we appreciate one another, and what we think about the day, which is like give or take. You know, we may celebrate it, we may not. I think you guys probably will for the rest of your lives because it's on Vernon's birthday.
The rest of his life.
The rest of his life. And then for us, I think it'll probably be a new thing. But yeah, I don't mind
That'd be fun.
cooking up a ribeye, getting you a little gift. I love giving gifts. I love shopping for them. And I like cooking, so it all works out. Because when he gets ribeye, guess who else gets ribeye?
Everyone.
We all win. And when he's
Everybody
happy,
wins.
guess who's happy? We all are. It's all good. Hey, kid.
Okay, last one.
Okay, okay.
So stressors related to marriage and family. You guys, what stressors do you feel like there are being married to two entrepreneurs who share all their personal thoughts on the internet? Or you can be vaguer.
This is the hot tea, everyone.
No,
It's cold
this
now.
is the
What are stressors in our marriage that you feel as a husband?
No, I can talk first if you like, and then it'll give Gurnon a chance to think of something.
yeah,
But,
there's a lot I need to break down. You know,
Drink
like
some tea.
kind of wasn't ready for it. Wasn't expecting this moment here to be here with you guys on Navajo Tea Time.
Oh yeah, he woke up this morning like, oh hey, you're gonna be on the show with us today.
Like what?
And literally as you were typing the topics, I'm like, and these are the topics.
Oh no, so you
I've
got
been so
blindsided.
busy doing everything else, I forgot to tell
Okay,
him
that's
until this
stressor
morning.
number one then. We'll give that one to you. Getting
Yeah.
blindsided by Kelsey and Adrian. Sorry.
Thanks, ladies.
Thanks, ladies. All right, go ahead, babe.
Well, I think it goes back to, you know, when how old was I when we met? I was like 42,
No,
41. I don't remember.
you were 40.
Was I 40? Okay, so and like Adrian was saying that I didn't want to waste her time and I
No,
didn't
we
want
met in
her to waste mine.
2014.
Yeah, that's true.
So you were in your 30s.
yeah.
You
But
got- yeah,
but
sorry.
the point being that, you know, when you're 40, you don't want to waste time. And so I think I tried really hard to display things as clearly as I could so that they would not be stressors. And I would always tell her that if this is more than you want to deal with, I understand. I'm not gonna get upset with you. I don't blame you. I said, but you know, I like Futurama. And she says, you're gonna like that by yourself. And I said, I can do that. And so so we would do something like that, or I like gelato, and she would say, okay, I'm gonna do that with you. Okay, great. And so with all of that out of the way, you know, some of the things that we came across, they were more in common than not. So we both like a clean house, and we both want to be partners to one another in life, and not just a partner like we're gonna, you know, get a bank account together and sign a mortgage together or whatever, but really be supportive of one another. And so when she was talking about being encouraged to go on to grad school, I'm fully supportive. And in knowing that life is short and you got to get out there and you got to make it happen, that's part of it. But I also tease her that, well, you're younger than me, so I'm going to be retired and you'll have to earn more money. You know, and then I'll be a house husband at that point. So but in all of those things, you know, I think another thing that I think of that could be a stressor to Adrian would be, you know, I like beat up old cars and trucks, and I like to tinker, and I like to take things apart and put them back together. And I was just letting her know, I was like, you know, there's always going to be a project car or two hanging around somewhere. Are you going to be okay with that? You know? And so she said, yeah, I'm okay with that. All right. You know, and so that's how we happen to be able to deal with it. It wasn't ever me hiding things. It was the other way around. And it was me allowing her the opportunity to say, you know, well, this is what's going to stress you out. What do you think? I'm like, that sounds good to me. You should do that. And the more we spoke about that, the more we realized how much in unison things could work as we go along. Even down to spirituality too. You know, the idea that I remember when I said to her that we were driving to a ceremony. It was a sing that goes from midnight to dawn, and we were on a dirt road that was probably muddy, if I'm not mistaken. It was about 10 miles of that, driving on a dirt road. And I remember I was driving, she was in the passenger seat. I remember looking over at her and I said, I'm on this path and you just need to be aware of that. You know, that I don't expect this to stop. And this is the path I'm on. And so
he said, we're going to be on a lot of bumpy
we're going
dirt
to
roads.
if you hang with me, we're going to be on a lot of bumpy dirt roads. If you're okay with that, then you should, you know, I would love to have you be here with me, you know, but you have to decide that you're okay with that. And, you know, so a lot of those things can get dealt with early on, and then there aren't any stressors anymore. The last thing that I'll say on the matter is, it was funny the other day, because the other day we had our daughter with us, and we were talking about money, and just, oh, I need to move this money over here and this money over there. Okay, you're gonna put this, I'm gonna put this on the card, and blah blah blah. And my daughter heard it, our daughter heard it, and she says, you guys are stressing about money. It's like, no, we're talking about money. And then we move the money, and now we're gonna go get lunch, and now we're gonna eat gas, and then we're done. That was it, you know. And so you know, those kinds of things as well, just being transparent and being team players. It's something that I learned from my grandmother and my mom, is that be a partner, don't be a leech.
Yeah, or a burden.
Yeah, don't be a burden. Don't, you know, pull your weight, all that. And it lines up a lot with Adrian's elders as well, where they talk about this this wagon being pulled by these two horses, and that's a marriage, you know, and one of them can't just quit. They both have to keep pulling the wagon along. And that resonates with me, because I'd heard it in a different manner, but same idea. So those are that's what's on my mind about the matter.
Thanks for sharing. I was going to mention that too about money, but
yeah,
money's a stressor. I was too late, too slow. You said you were gonna.
No, I mean, you can share your ideas about money too, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that's actually one of my big stressors, is just money, just me trying to find clients for our business. And she's all settled with clients and work. So I was like, I really want to get a commission going, but there's nobody interested. And I'm not the only artist out there looking for jobs too. There's other people with different styles than mine. So it's like, it's a real competition for me. So that's, I guess it's one of my stresses in the relationship. And she's always telling me, you want a job? I was like, no, I'm not found a commission. It's found some potential people hiring for artists, but I got to wait for them to come back to me, since I threw my pitch into them. So it's just a real, yeah, it's been stressful trying to wait through that. So and that's why you heard her mention that, you know, me playing games instead of working. It's like, yeah, because I'm waiting for a reply. It's like I got my notifications on Reddit, so I'm waiting for a reply. Now I got over the likes from the bullet journaling from Reddit that I posted up instead of, you know, someone interested in my work or the commission for me. So it's like, so, yeah.
Is it stressful for you guys, like the expectations of husbands, you know, to be A, B, or C? Does that ever stress you guys out? Like the expectations that society has for you guys?
A little. No,
Mhm.
not really. No.
I have one
I-
question for you, Gurney. Like, so my family is very female dominated with a lot of opinionated women. How does the stress of dealing with them,
Opinionated. What do you mean?
like my mom, my grandma, my aunts, they're very vocal about different things and at times can be very demanding. Like, does the in-laws ever stress you out?
Your mom does sometimes.
Dang.
Another one kind of at least comes back to me too sometimes when I'm really stressing about, you know, finding work, jobs, money for the business. Kind of throw my thing there is with her grandma. You know, a few times she shared with me what her grandma said about me, like I should get a job, like work at a union or construction job or something like that. Go out there and get some more work. It's like he does. He works from home. He does art. It's like, no, I mean like a real job.
She calls it like a man's job of
A
like
man
working with your
job.
hands and being
Mhm.
outside. If it's not that, then
So-
she thinks of it as like a different type of job.
Yeah, so there was that thought kind of comes to me too, that, you know, I'm not getting any luck on finding jobs though. So just
Mhm.
like if I it's like I think it'd be nice to try to at least try to put some money in for our family. It'd be nice to get the
Mhm.
job like that for it though, but I'll be far away from them. And it'll also ruin our own routine we have going on right now. Like, cause I'm mostly one taking the little one to school while I give her time to sleep in.
Yeah.
Because then she's mostly doing mostly all the work that's mentally
So
exhausting.
I guess like our dynamics a little flipped of like he's kind of like house husband, part-time
Mhm.
art commissioner, and I'm like full-time editor, filmmaker. So
Mhm.
our roles are a little bit reversed, not backwards, but you know, like I go to
Yeah.
work and he helps with Frankie and a lot of the dishes and chores, and I'm bringing in most of the money. So
Mhm.
that's where that comes when we're like we just switched roles.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, the truth is too, like, if he were to do that, if he were to take a job like construction work, that would take him away from you guys.
Yeah.
Not just you, Kelsey, but also, you know.
Yeah, and that's one thing I've told him too. I'm like, I didn't marry someone in construction because I don't want that life, and that's why I didn't marry someone in the military because I don't want that life. I'm like, like if I'm married to you, what's the point of you being gone like 7 months out of the year? I don't want that. If you're gonna be with me, be here with me. Otherwise, I'm gonna forget about you because I'm really good at like I don't know. I could be fine by myself, and so if Gurney's not around, then I'll get used to him being gone. And then I won't have a need for him anymore, except for like the money he brings in, but I don't need that. So I'd rather have him with me than just bringing in money.
Yeah. And I think that's
Also-
something people don't know about relationships is like how that person fulfills you. Just because they're not doing what you want them to do doesn't mean that they're not meeting a need that is deeply there for the other individual, you know? So it's like, I mean, you wouldn't have the ability to do everything you're doing if Gordon wasn't there to be supportive and helpful and, you know, be the one to kind of take a back seat for now. It doesn't mean he's always going to be in the back seat, just like right now he is. And he's in a place that he's basically driving, you know what I mean? Everything. And I think that's something that a lot of feminists talk about is the work that's not paid, the work at home. You know, nothing is really possible unless you have someone there to do that, to steer the ship. You know, you'll be running into icebergs, you'll be running, you know, into all kinds of problems if you don't have someone steering that ship, doing that work, even though it's unpaid labor, it's still labor, it's still necessary. And so as a feminist, I support you. Both of you.
All I knew in my life was that, you know, if I'm gonna marry somebody, if they have a ambition, no, I'll support them. So yeah.
You guys sound perfect for each other.
Thanks.
Oh, gee, stop.
Gee, shucks.
So be
Put it-
perfect for each other.
Put a heart right there around each.
Ricky does. She does.
Oh, our little one's been doing
Oh
this
my
a lot
God.
because I think she sees it on like YouTube or whatever. She's like, heart, 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 and she'll wait for one of us to come up to complete it.
Or when it's time to go to bed, she'll like, I'm usually taking her to bed with me, and we always go
Yeah.
to bed, and she was like, Dad, make a heart with your body. So I just do that too.
Cute.
It's like, oh,
You need to stretch.
Just stretch before I do that.
I know you guys did that, but I'm always up
Oh.
late editing.
you are. That's why. I was like, yeah, that's right. You always
You
up
guys are
working.
forming
So I'm like,
hearts without me.
our
Go get
little
mom
one,
next time.
it's still working. So it works out, this whole routine that we have going on. So it's like, it works. It's like, I don't want to ruin it by leaving them there and going to a man's job. So
That's what people said
But-
about my husband too. They're like, why doesn't he do like man's work? Like, because the men in my family, they're like welders and pipe fitters, right? And I remember one time it was even, I don't know if it was my dad or someone was like, you should come on a job with me. And Mike's like, no. I was like, yes.
I'm good.
With these hands?
I was just like, thank you for saying no. He just straight up was like, no, I'm not doing that. And
I
then
do some not construction, carpentry a little bit and
Uh-huh.
maintenance. So
mhm.
I'm useful.
He's
so
useful.
so if
I
someone offers me that, I'm like,
Yes,
this one
too.
trip, I'll check it out, see how it goes.
Yeah. I mean, he knows how to do he's done labor before, right? Like you've done hard work, hard labor. He's done man's work. You know what I mean? But he's at a level now where he doesn't
It's
he has a choice.
it's better economically if I don't.
That's why he didn't want to say at first, because
That's why I was trying to I
Yeah.
don't want to be a jerk here.
but then like
Have
when
a class war pop off.
it came down to that though, the conversation, because they were kind of pushing it. And then so he just brought out the numbers. I could make this much money doing the work I'm doing now, or I could make this much money doing the work you're asking me to do. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense for me to do that. And they're like, oh, okay, they backed off. But I'm just like, leave him alone. You know, like,
I appreciate being defended, but yeah, I didn't need defense, so I was just like,
Yeah.
whatever. I'll leave that job open for someone else.
I turned into Mary Jane. If he doesn't want to be a pipe fitter, he doesn't have to be a pipe fitter.
Like, it's okay, babe. I'll be a pipe fitter at night.
I mean, I think it's well-meaning on the part of our
It is.
family. It's just sometimes it's expressed in a way where it comes across as a little
I mean, they don't know my industry, quote unquote,
mhm.
and people don't understand it. You know, I get it. It's kind of it's a little rare these days to be in academics and actually make a living. So, and if you know, in my family, I'm the first one to go to college. I don't know who was the first to go into college. Was it you in your
No,
family?
my aunt Irene, she has
That's
a
right.
master's
That's right.
degree.
So there
Yeah.
was like maybe a generation back. So, but it's still a rare thing in a family. you
Not
know?
like in my immediate family though.
Yeah,
I'm the
yeah.
first. Yeah.
So in my family, yeah, it was all my cousins and all, you know, were scratching their heads like, what's he doing?
Mhm.
And you know, look at it this way too. This story, you know, that Adrian's sharing is actually endearing, because in my family, you know, word spreads fast, and so I was going to a community college, and then I got accepted to UCLA, and so I was gearing up to go, and I heard in a roundabout way from one of my cousins that, oh, he'll be back in 6 months. He's going to flunk out. And I just went, oh yeah,
Never
and,
leaving.
and I now I haven't seen that cousin in probably 20 years, and
Watch
I've gone beyond.
Watch this.
I think it's like mic drop, but that's not why I did it. It was, but that's how it is. I think people don't understand. My grandmother would get confused as well, and she would say, you know, Michael, so are you a professor? Yes. okay, so you're not a doctor. Like I am, but not a medical doctor. So like, wait a minute, wait. And so it took some figuring out and untangling to get it all figured out. The last one that I'll mention is that I remember when I told my mom, I'm going to go to Northern Arizona University. I think I said it verbatim like that. And she said, oh, okay, that's wonderful. Yeah. And so then she mentioned it to my cousin, and she came back and she says, you know what your stupid cousin said? Like, what? Why is he going to another university? Hasn't he been to enough universities? And I had to explain to him, no, he's getting a job at the university. He's not going to be a student at the university. So it's something to, and her and I were kind of poker faced with the family, which I think may have come up in a previous episode. If you want to cut this out, you can. It'll be up to her. But she did originally tell her parents that I was the manager at a 7-Eleven when we met. And so I said, because she told me that. She goes, yeah, I told him you were a manager at 7-Eleven. I was like, all right, cool. I'll back you up.
Yeah, I didn't want to like tell, I don't know. There was just a part of me that didn't want to tell them what he did or what his title was, and even now
we don't brag about it. I don't wear it, I like it's being able to sit down in the dirt with people and have a lunch and not worry about them like, is he going to judge me because I'm not using my fork and knife? Like, I don't use my fork and knife either, so I eat with my hands, and I wipe my hands on my shirt and my pants, and I've been to places like that where we're sitting in the dirt, and then we'll look over and we'll see people wearing suits sitting at a table in a hogan. It's like, what is wrong with those people?
It's the other way around.
And then so if I don't have to deal with that, so I'm hiding in plain sight most days.
Yeah, and I like that. I like flying under the radar, and it's just, I remember like at NAU, he would always ask everyone just to call him Mike. But you know how in college they say, like, if your professor has a PhD, you address them as doctor. And so I don't know if you guys got that, but that's what I would, because like some of the professors would get really huffy if you didn't address them like that. Like, oh, Dr. So-and-so. It was considered disrespectful if you said Mr. or Ms. or ma'am or whatever. They would say, no, you call me doctor. So I'm like, okay. So that was the training I got working, or going through undergrad. And then I met Mike, and he was like, just call me Mike. And everyone called him that. He would say that to everyone. I'd hear him go to talks or lectures, and he would say, just call me Mike. And then people would struggle with it, which is funny because they want to be more formal. And so now when we meet, I introduce him as my husband, and that's his title. But I don't go around saying like, oh, this is my husband, Dr. Lerma. I think it's a little pretentious, and that doesn't fly on the res,
Well, it could fly, but not in the circles that I want to fly in.
Yeah, it's kind of like, that's just not how we roll, like we don't want people to feel any kind of intimidation or uncomfortable around us, or like think like, oh, I don't know. I don't want people to think we're pretentious, because we're not, like we don't live like that, we don't want to, I don't know. I just think it's so anyways, but that's that. So when I introduced, when we met, we actually started dating, and then my parents my sisters, they knew first. They were like, who is this guy, and everyone's really protective of,
understandable.
Yeah, and so they're like, who is he? And they told on me, Adrian's dating this guy, and they told on me to my parents, and my parents were in California, and they zoomed back from California to Tuba City to meet this guy. And so I wanted them to meet him as Mike. I wanted them to see him for who he was as a person, not as
a title.
Yeah, I didn't want them to tie.
And I wanted the same thing.
Yeah, and I didn't want anyone to think that that's why I was with him either. I thought that was BS. So that's how I told them he's a manager at. I told him he works at 7-Eleven, because my mom was like, "Does he have a job?" And I was like, "Yeah, he works at 7-Eleven." And then she kind of paused, and I was like, "But he's the manager." And she's like, okay, good, as long as he has a job. And then he meets my dad, and my dad's all like, I don't want you mooching off my daughter. She's a hard worker. You can't just be sleeping on the couch. You need to get up and get a job. And he's like, okay.
I do that already.
We never told them. Like weeks went by. Finally, it started to come out. And then over the years, more has come out like, oh, he's done A, B, or C. You know what I mean? And so they're learning about him, but we're not like, that's not the first thing they learn. You know what I mean? Like I wanted them to get to know him as a person. And when we got married, there were people that thought they would make assumptions too, like, oh, you're with him because of whatever. And I'm just like, no. And one time somebody called me out. We were in a hogan, and someone's like, you're just with him because of the money. And I was like, no. I was like, I'm with him because he's a good man. And that person's all, oh yeah, you're right. He's a good man.
No.
Like,
That's true.
I'm like, I wouldn't be with him if he wasn't. Like, come on. And I said that, and I was like, you know, I know what people say sometimes. I know what people's assumptions might be, but this is the honest truth. And I will always say that, you know, my husband is a good man, and that's why I'm with him. There's no other reason. And so it was funny, but yeah.
For us, it's kind of the opposite. It was like, oh yeah, Gurney's a digital artist. Did you need something made? You know, just trying to like work towards him. But I think
Yeah.
being an artist and then being like having a doctorate, it's a little different. You want people to know you're an artist so you can get followers and
Yes.
Yeah.
people can spread that information everywhere. But like, it's definitely difficult to explain to like my grandma what I
Mhm.
do. You know, like
Yeah.
doing Navajo Tea Time, editing videos, and so like I took her to the Change Labs like groundbreaking ceremony for their space to show her like, this is the organization I work with. I do videos for them. And she's like, okay, you know, trying to get her to talk to some of the people who are there, or like just kind of see some of the people I work with, and like, because she doesn't really watch, you know, she's 80 years old. She doesn't
Mhm.
watch YouTube.
She's not there yet. We're working
She
on
won't
it.
get a like Facebook or anything either. She's like, nah,
Mhm.
I'm fine with my direct TV.
She recently got a smartphone and started playing games on it.
Oh yeah, now she's playing solitaire on her phone. That's the biggest jump to
There you go.
technology she's done with her
I'm
phone.
almost caught up to her.
What you been missing out on?
That's my gaming experience, solitaire.
I know he loves solitaire and chess. I love
I remember-
solitaire.
I remember she used to play solitaire every time at the bead stand. She'll always be playing solitaire. That's where I got like my cards shuffling and playing different card games from. It's her. And I'm like, Grandma, you can get it on your phone. She's like, no, I don't want that. And then she goes down to my aunt's house for like a couple of months. And you come, oh, I got solitaire on my phone. I'm like, I told you could get that. So, but yeah, like it's definitely difficult. And I guess the stress of like, you know, trying to find jobs when you're commission work.
Mhm.
You're always
Yeah.
trying and trying to look for people, because it's not like, oh, I got paid this much this week, I'm gonna get that next week. It's never the same.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
I'm always trying to also find other things to do too for the business. So, but yeah.
That's how I feel about Waikiki. It's like sales is so
It's tough.
hard.
It's tough.
It's so hard. Yeah, like, and that's not my, I mean, I know there's a specific skill set related to sales. And for me, that's not my priority. I'm like the relationship building person. That's what I'm good at. That's what I like to do. And I like customer service. I like the behind the scenes stuff. Sales is something that I don't put all of my energy into, and I need to, right? If you want to have your business be successful, you got to do that. And so it is challenging because, you know.
And I'm less skilled at that. Yeah. My idea of helping out is maybe selling a bulb on eBay every month or so, and it's like $40.
I know.
Ching, we're rolling in the dough.
He's the reason why we have any profit.
The husbands.
Pat
Yeah.
myself for that little bit. I did it again.
Yeah, but you know, I definitely appreciate all the stuff he does for the house and the family. It lets me focus on my work. And I know some people will see that as like being selfish. Like, oh no, you're the mom, you're the wife. You shouldn't be making your husband do all that stuff. And it's like, but he doesn't have a job right now. Not he doesn't have a job. He doesn't have a commission work right now. So I still have my work. So
And I think that was one of the reasons for me when I was younger, when I was in my 20s. I did construction work. I dug up septic tanks, and I saw how unstable funding could be, the income. So I decided, I'm gonna do something else. I'm gonna go to college. I'm gonna see if I can get a 9-month contract. So when people invite me out to do jobs, I'm like, is it in Bermuda? I'll go there. I'll go dig septic tanks in Bermuda.
It has to be in paradise.
Has to be somewhere good.
Tropical paradise, that'd be fine.
But anyways, the stress of being a house husband and work, I think it's just financial situation, and I guess just not trying to ruin a good thing going, like a little routine. That really works,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, that's true. That's absolutely true. Yeah, I think I strongly believe in routines. I like knowing how to run a household, knowing what the needs are, the schedules are, and block timing. I do that too. Like I think it's a really great way to manage your time. That way everyone's needs are met, because it's not an easy job and it is mandatory, otherwise everything gets neglected, so. And I mean, you can see that, like Mike and I, we both, because we both have day jobs, our house probably isn't as clean as it could be. You know what I mean? Like if one of us was, it's
not
good,
perfect,
but it's not perfect.
But it's good.
Yeah, like little things get neglected. So we have to really, like Mike was saying, carve out time for everything to make sure that it's not just work and burnout. You know what I mean? Yeah, we have to really, really take care of that time. And I'm really glad that he came on to Navajo Tea Time with me today, because he didn't have to, he could have been like, no, I'm going to relax today. But, he's here with me now. And this has been a really good conversation. It's been fun. And I really thank you both for being so candid. And
I was thinking I'd give him the choice. I'm like, hey, you're going to be on Navajo Tea Time with me and Adrian today. It's at this time. Be ready.
Better be appreciative.
Yeah, it was funny when Gurdon was telling me, did you know about this? So like, probably as much notice as you had, which is accurate. We had the same notice.
Yeah, I told him this morning, like it was before coffee too.
Yeah. And I said, well, let's have coffee
like,
first.
Let's have coffee first.
And then we'll figure it out. And then she said, all right, well, write down the notes. And
I wrote it down.
She said, say this. Okay, let me say this.
These are the words you're gonna say.
Say it with an accent.
Yes.
Okay. After that, I was just like, all right, I just didn't know what time. I just didn't know what the time was gonna be at. So,
well,
I was like, okay, now what's for breakfast?
We had the exact same conversation, because Adrian was saying, I want to eat and get in the shower. And I was like, you better go get in the shower then, because we got to eat.
Yeah.
Go. Let's eat.
It was a bit similar with her too, but it wasn't phrased that way. But the same order, yeah.
Same difference, as long as it works.
Yeah.
Yep, we did it, you guys. Yay.
Well, thank you for bringing me on. I appreciate it. Thankful to Kelsey and Gernon and Adrian. You could have anybody in this seat, but you chose me, so thank you. Appreciate it.
You've been your soulmate. Me. But you
Lona couldn't be here today. So we have Gernon. Yeah, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. We still need to get to 1,000 subscribers. If all the people who follow us on Facebook just push subscribe, we'd reach that goal 2 times.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
It's just right there.
You have like what, 3,000 followers on Facebook?
Yeah, seriously, if every one of our followers on Facebook subscribed, guess what? We could start getting merch out. We could afford to send out merch. We could do giveaways. We could give stuff away. Come
Everybody
on,
wins.
Yeah, we all win.
Right.
Yeah, all Kelsey and I could invest in Starlink.
Right. camera that doesn't keep focusing.
But I want to just do a quick shout out to all the husbands out there. Thank you guys for being supportive. To all the good husbands who take good care of their families, their children, their wives. That's super awesome. For those of you pursuing your dreams, the writers, the artists, the academics, the pipe fitters, the welders.
The welders.
You're up
The
to no good out
man
there, but thank you for sending that money home. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I always give welders a hard time. But no, thank you guys all. I think, I don't think husbands get enough appreciation as it is, because it's not an easy job. It's really hard to be married. It's really hard to be, to have a wife who might be a little demanding, who might have her own ambitions and dreams, who might want to work outside the home, but we're building communities. We're doing good work. And so I just want to thank, because I know that's not, I think for some people that'd be really hard, because there's a lot of guys out there that don't even bother to do that. They don't even bother to be supportive or to let their wives do what they want. So I know it's all ugly, but thank you. I just want to say that I appreciate you guys. I appreciate my husband. I appreciate Gernon. Thank you.
Same.
Yep, we did it. All right, so shall we end it here?
Yeah,
Go
bye
get
guys.
She just smashed it into his face. Yeah.
Not a very Navajo friendly. It's like a weird label you're putting on yourself.
They protect us, they guide us. And my father, he worked in law enforcement, so he was.
You witnessed police pulling over cars.
If you got to slap a senator, you slap a senator. Incorporating language and cultural aspects into. Who's your celebrity crush?
Pass.
It's that point where you're just like, what am I doing?